What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Black Side of Liberty. It's your man, Governor Wildstar. Hey, how you doing out there? I appreciate you for jumping in. This is going to be a wonderful conversation with an extraordinary guest who I'll be introducing to you momentarily. But as always, please definitely, if you're going to be enjoying what you're going to be seeing here, subscribe, because I need those numbers to go up. We need more people to figure out what's going on here in our world, and it's up to us to keep each other informed. I would love to be a spokesman of that and have an opportunity to speak on what's going on in our community. So please, as I said, subscribe and share any of my videos, including this one here that you're going to be seeing, and any others on my YouTube channel. Those of you that are watching on YouTube, I appreciate you, because we're almost at that mark of 30,000 subscribers. Trying to hit that as soon as possible. So let's go. Please share any and all videos. And of course, visit my website, governorwildstar.com, and connect with me on social media. So that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all there for the connection. So please connect with me. And yeah, like I said, let's grow these numbers and increase our audience for this liberty movement, because we are rare individuals in this fight for freedom. And one person that I'm going to be introducing to you here is a freedom fighter who was actually a candidate for California governor. I'm going to be introducing him now. His name is Zoltan Istvan. Zoltan, welcome to the Black Side of Liberty, my man.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, the pleasure is all mine. So, Zoltan, I do know you as an opponent of mine for running for California governor. So it's an extreme honor for you to come on to the program, you know, seeing as we had opposing views on some things. So we'll hopefully get to discuss a few of those ideas during this conversation. But first, if you could just tell the people out there, who is Zoltan Istvan? Because they might not know who the fuck you are, and we want to know. So please tell us, who are you?
Sure. Well, you know, my name is Zoltan Istvan. I started my career as a journalist. I worked for National Geographic and covered quite a few conflict zones and war zones, which is one of the reasons I'd been attracted to liberty. I'd seen some dictatorships and some terrible things. But I had a very close call with a landmine while doing a story for National Geographic in Vietnam that got me very interested in science and technology to overcome death. And soon after, I joined the movement of transhumanism, which is trying to use science and technology to overcome death, and have become one of its more prominent public spokesmen. And along that, I've been also running for office, as Nicholas said, regarding the California Libertarian gubernatorial run. That was a lot of fun to run against him and with him, you know, in the same party. And I've also run for other offices, and I'm just going out trying to do my best to spread science, technology, and freedom.
Wow, that's quite the resume, man, and you run it down very well. And you dropped in there about how you, I guess, explored the idea of transhumanism when you came into, I guess, self-discovery about death. Is this like some personal epiphany that you went through, or growth, existential experience? Is that what caused that?
I think so. You know, I'd always been attracted to science fiction, even when I was a young person in school. But that said, it really wasn't until I realized that there was a movement afoot. And so your audience know, transhumanism maybe has, you know, a few million or maybe tens of millions of people, supporters, advocates worldwide. You have to think of like Elon Musk type of technology, radical stuff that you might be putting inside your body or using for your upgrading your human experience. And that stuff is just progressively getting better and better until at least, you know, one point we're going to have this ability to become almost superhuman. So as this experience in Vietnam happened, where I almost stepped on the landmine, it just kind of coincided with the growth of this movement as a whole. And so I've been, you know, sort of pushing it as one of its main journalists and sort of philosophers. But, you know, it's not for everybody. A lot of people are sort of, you know, scared of it, or they're also just wary of it, you know, whatever it is. But I think, you know, I love it. And I hope one day that I might actually be able to get off this planet, become something different than a biological body, and really be a different, you know, entity, and see all the things. I mean, when you talk about freedom, transhumanism is sort of at the core of it. We want to be so free that we can change our bodies into anything that we want to be.
I think we all kind of want to evolve. The scariest part about transhumanism when people hear about it is the technological involvement, you know. So you did brush on it as far as, you know, scientific or as far as pardon me, it being, I guess, what is that called? AI and these different kind of technologies that would be introduced into the body. And it does sound like science fiction, but right now we are seeing the evolving of that becoming science fact. So if you could break it down a bit more about what is transhumanism, because a lot of people still don't, I guess, can't wrap their mind around the modern day application of how this would actually work.
Well, sure. Like there was a, for example, in the news right now, there's a child with muscular dystrophy, and through genetic editing, we were able to keep that child from having to live his life in a wheelchair. Now, that's kind of a modern application. What a lot of people know transhumanism for today is helping with the disabled, like a war veteran comes back with an arm lost. Well, transhumanists are the ones who put on the robotic arm that tie it to its neural system so that military person can now play the guitar again, or the piano, or grab a beer, or even have feelings at the end of his robotic arm. But that's where it kind of gets a little iffy, because you have to ask yourself, okay, that's one thing to be helping the disabled, but then there are people like myself who see the robotic arm, the robotic leg, the robotic heart, you know, let's say heart disease being the #1 killer of humanity right now, which it is, that being the natural extension of transhumanism. And that's where you kind of cross into this area where people start feeling uncomfortable. How far do you go in becoming a cyborg, in upgrading yourself? And of course, then you have the question of privacy, of government involvement, all these other things. And that's where it starts to scare people. But I think at the core, transhumanism is a very humanitarian movement that wants to make people live better and a lot longer.
It sounds like a great idea, but you did hint on a few things, like as far as government involvement, government control, government intrusion, etc. I just recently saw this movie. What is it, with Bloodsport or Blood something, with Vin Diesel, where they remade him with nanites or some shit like that. But anyways, the government was able to hack into it and use him as basically like a hitman for hire. So they would wipe him and then reprogram to go out and kill somebody, and he didn't even realize that this was going on. So he looked like a conscious human being, although he was being controlled like a robot. And you have this battle of consciousness, I guess, that would exist there. And that's the real threat is, are we human beings going to be in control, or is a robot going to be in control? And if it is robotic control, could it be hacked into? You have some hackers out there called Evil Core. They hacked into some, you know, smartwatches or some shit like that. During this coronavirus lockdown, you had a whole bunch of hackers hack into people's private home security systems. So the threat is there, the possibility is there, and it's proving in real life that it has the possibility of happening. So I guess that's people's main concern. If people were to become cyborgs or some shit like that, they could be hacked into, right?
Well, I agree 100%. And I think that is the central issue at hand. And to be honest, when, you know, kids or young people come to me and say, Zoltan, you know, I love transhumanism, what field should I go into? I always say cybersecurity, because it's the one field that I can, you know, tell people for sure, given the kind of pending conflict between cyborgism, transhumanism, as well as privacy issues and stuff like that, cybersecurity is going to be in the front lines of everything. And, you know, right now there's already all sorts of AI tracking issues. There's all sorts of people tracking your phones. There's, you know, you're getting caught on camera everywhere. And to some degree, I think I like the idea that it increases safety. For example, I like when my daughter walks down the street to public school and then she is seen by a camera that I know later if something ever happened to her, she can be seen. That makes me feel secure. On the other hand, I don't want to be the person who gets a speeding ticket just because the AI is following me, you know, through some type of thing. So in my opinion, there is a trade-off of value there. I know a lot of libertarians don't agree with me on this, because I take the kind of camera thing and the lack of privacy a little bit too far. But I believe that history has shown that we have the ability to balance those things in a way that it might jeopardize liberty a little bit, but the safety concerns we get help. But don't get me wrong, I'm in no way advocating for saying complete disavowal of all privacy or things like that. I just think in terms of human trafficking, in terms of the safety of some of our children and things like that, or, you know, your wife is driving down the freeway, accidentally crashes into a lake. All of a sudden, some AI camera has seen that and can then send, you know, 911 people there immediately to save her life. There are some benefits to this, but the trade-off is that we have to come up with a way where we still feel comfortable retaining our privacy without completely giving it all up. And that's where I know it becomes very confusing, and not only confusing, I think a lot of people say it's just too much risk to allow the government to have that in our lives. And I understand that point of view.
I mean, especially nowadays, the government can't be trusted, you know, as far as you could throw them, you know, like you said, they're already showcasing that they're not responsible, they're incapable, and how will we be able to correct that? So you're offering to be someone in that position, not only as a I guess, governor of California, but you did also run for president of the United States twice, including this year as a Republican. And then you switched to the vice presidential ticket for the Libertarian Party. So, you know, you are applying yourself as someone that wants to be respected as a leader for this transhumanist movement in a political, you know, arena, in a political position. So I guess that's another part that seems to be threatening to the people that would be, I guess, have their concerns against something such as transhumanism or cyborgism. But you also talked about making death an enemy. How would you kill death? I mean, it's so many things that you're offering as a politician. What is it, I guess, as a whole, what is it that you're offering to potential voters if you were to run for governor again or president?
Well, I think you know, if you're able to win the presidency, then I think you have a huge amount of ability to really change the system. And what I have said all along, let's just speak more about the presidency, because I think that was the one that I appealed broader audience, given that we have a lot of transhumanists across the country. You know, my main ticket was, I want to downsize the military. I want to take some of the military budget away, and I want to apply it directly to fighting wars against cancer, fighting wars against Alzheimer's, fighting wars against diabetes and obesity, and maybe racial injustice and some of those things too. I mean, I want to apply military money, which is enormous, like 20% of the GDP, to things that really matter for people. And what matter in my life, for example, you know, my father died a couple years ago from heart disease. You know, we have a child across the street that died from leukemia. We have, you know, everyone knows somebody who has some kind of health problem, and now we have coronavirus. I want to be the person who said, look, we had a vaccine for coronavirus before coronavirus even became a mainstream thing, knowledge, you know, in the public. I mean, we could have these things done. We could have vaccines for Ebola and MERS and SARS and maybe even cancer someday, but it's going to take a president or in leadership, politicians that really want to care about the general well-being of the people and not just their political careers, as well as military might in America, which, by the way, is, I think, slowly being lost anyhow to China. It's like whatever Trump's doing is sort of backfiring in many different ways. And then even if the Democratic candidate wins next time, it's probably going to backfire too. I feel like America is sort of losing its strength, and it's lost its way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing you out, and the one thing I must say is, as a libertarian, I wouldn't be very libertarian if I didn't tell you didn't sound like a libertarian. So when you say that there's a compromise of my liberty, my freedom for the sake of security, and then, you know, having someone such as a president be in that position is, you know, definitely terrifying. And you did talk about, you know, helping with criminal justice reform. And that's one thing that we actually talked about during our campaign for governor of California in 2018, some of the debates. One of the things that you actually offered was creating a police force and a robot police force of all things. So if anything, you're taking the budget for military and you're putting it into militarizing local police force agencies, which already can be trusted by humans, and you want to put robots in control of that.
Well, let me just.
Would you still create a robot police force, especially in today's climate?
Well, ultimately, my idea would be we would limit the human police force, maybe even at some point eliminate it 100%. Like, my goal has always been to form a technological government that would have no human beings in it, because I believe that AI and essentially robotic minds, algorithms, data, stuff like that can run a better society, a better civil world than is happening right now. And I think in the case of racial justice, that would be really clear. Right now, the AI is not perfect, so I'm not advocating for it 100%. But at some point, we're going to get to a point when you can trust machines, just like as we can already sort of trust them to drive and they have less accident rates and stuff like that. We're going to be able to trust them to not be able to discriminate against whoever it is that they're like, asking questions or arresting or things like that, and to be able to see color differences and whatnot. So there is something to be said for a government run by technology, especially as it's less emphasis on humans. And you have to understand, when I was advocating for kind of AI, I was specifically advocating for AI and robots on school campuses that have the ability to rush and try to tackle shooters, mass shooting shooters that might be trying to shoot down children. And I think in that case, it really can be useful, because we would have something that has total vision, that doesn't have to worry about sacrificing its life, and still could protect our children. At the same time, it doesn't actually increase, it's not like the robot's going to arrest anyone or at some school. It's really just there 100% to protect. And that's why I think you could have some technology that you could trust without a huge sacrifice of freedom, if any sacrifice. You have to realize that I think you gain freedom from safety. So in my mind, there's this trade-off. I'm not after your freedoms whatsoever. I'm actually just after trying to give you more safety. And that's what I think a government should be doing. It really should be looking at preserving the freedom of its people. And for a lot of people, preserving freedom means, how can I make your life better in terms of living longer and safer? And that's, again, I'm not trying to steal anyone's freedoms away at all.
But that seems more authoritarian, when you have a government controlling and providing freedom and security to people, when, again, we should be protecting ourselves. It shouldn't be the government's job to do that. But we spoke earlier in our conversation about people hacking into robots, and it seems like in every doomsday movie, including robots, that's the scenario. The case scenario is, the robot ends up getting hacked into for some whatever reason, or even with the possibility of what you're talking about, the inclusion of artificial intelligence, where now the robot is thinking and it's seeing us as a threat. It's seeing us human beings as being the number one, threat to ourselves. And if it wanted to eradicate us, it could, if it had the power to. I mean, those are those possibilities that make it a slippery slope, wouldn't you say?
It is. Now, and there's no question that at some point in the far future, robots could become like Terminator scenario, where they want to eliminate us. But right now, there's almost no chance of that. There are fail-safe switches that can turn off anything remotely, and all these other things. I know what Hollywood does. Hollywood is out to sell tickets. It's all out to sell advertisements. But the reality is, technology has broadly made our lives better, are more prosperous, live longer. When you look at the curve of society, it's improving because of science and technology. Don't get me wrong, it's not a perfect road upwards, but life for this 8 billion people on planet Earth has been getting better because of science and technology. And I think it's going to continue.
Yeah, of course. But people have to have some involvement in that. And if robots have all of the control, then what are we doing at that point, except for just being, a vessel of it? And government is already using these robots. They're even tinkering right now with little dog-looking robots called Spot or whatever to help implement this social distancing thing in certain countries, and other types of robots to, give people issue citations. And, it could get out of control to where, again, government right now is already using these technologies, and fuck Hollywood, DARPA people, if you haven't heard about DARPA, your government is already creating these robots where, you know, they're going to be arming them, sending them out on the battlefields across the globe. And so with the government in place right now, already tinkering with this technology, it makes it really scary. And one of the things that you also mentioned, and that you still have available, is a Transhumanist Bill of Rights, which is to provide extra rights to transhumanists when we as human beings can barely have our natural rights, our human rights respected by, again, human beings, individuals. How can we expect a robot to do that? And one thing that I guess I had tinkered on myself or investigated was into this Sophia and Han robot. I'm sure you've heard of them, but you guys out there watching, you should Google this. They have this conversation where they start talking about, you know, human existence. And the robot says something about the singularity. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And this technological singularity is exactly what Zoltan is talking about. Is humans getting to the point where machine intelligence, artificial intelligence is greater than human intelligence. And it sounds as if you're an advocate and supporter of that. I mean, is your goal this thing, the technological singularity that could ultimately lead to the eradication of humankind?
Absolutely. But you make it sound like I'm out to eradicate human beings, and that's not it at all. What I'm out to do is to help all 8 billion of us evolve to be smarter, more intelligent, live indefinitely, not suffer from disease, stay around our loved ones for as long as we want to do. It's not this either or. Sure, many humans will probably choose not to go through the singularity. They may just want to stay behind and live el natural on planet Earth. And I think that's perfectly fine. I would always want to respect anyone to do whatever they want to do within, legal boundaries. But I think for those of us that want to evolve, that want to tap our brains into AI, that want to merge ourselves with machines and see how far we can go down the rabbit hole of the universe. I mean, we're talking about intelligence levels 1 million times smarter, and being a part of that, maybe being directly in charge of that. Absolutely, I want to go down that. Absolutely, I want to be able to offer that to all human beings that exist. And let me just say, Elon Musk and other people like Brian Johnson and Colonel, Silicon Valley has a lot of different companies now that are coming out working on brain implants, or at least headsets that allow you to download music directly. Now, we've had the telepathy and the brainwave technology is coming already quite far, but probably within a few years, you and I might be able to have this podcast in our brains going back and forth to each other without actually a device in front of us. And that's already the beginning of sort of, not the singularity yet, but that's how we start tapping into AI. When you talk about robots and military robots, I believe that we'll probably be one with them if we want to be. And that's how we'll be designed. And there'll always be a private party that will make it so that human intelligence can stay atop of its game. And it may not be human intelligence, might be a combination of AI and human intelligence, and then might be mostly AI. But I plan to kind of retain a lot of my freedoms, a lot of my identity. I just may not be a biological being anymore. So it's not eradicate humans in terms of kill them. It's just sort of like, we've already sort of eradicated, let's say, the Neanderthal version of ourselves as we've kind of grown more evolved. And that's what's going to happen as we kind of merge with AI and machine parts, here in the next 100, 200 years.
But it's still, like you said, a phasing out of. And even though, I mean, I hate to make it sound doom and gloom by saying eradication of, but essentially that's what the fuck you said it is. So, I mean, ultimately that's what's going to happen. And not everybody is you. And as beautiful and flourishing and progressive as you make this evolving of humankind sound, not everybody is like you. Not everybody is going to have those intentions of where they make it sound so benevolent. Or like I said, the people right now want to have power. They want to control us, and they're already advancing that technology. Like you said, Elon Musk with this Neuralink bullshit wants to, put a chip in your head, or if you want to put a chip in your head, you can download information. And there may be people cool with that, but, for those of us that aren't, that's where the fight comes in. And, Elon Musk even has concerns about it. Right now, he's talking about speaking against what is it called? DeepMind artificial intelligence by Google, which is basically like, I don't know, just a collection of our information using artificial intelligence. And that's scary. I mean, and with transhumanism in itself, it's like a technological oriented religion. And you have those also being created, like with the Church of Artificial Intelligence by the Uber Waymo guy, for the driverless cars and all of that. You have robot goddesses in Japan, and all together, again, right now, people are afraid of death. So death can be used as a way, especially with this coronavirus shit. It could be used as a way for them to gain control by introducing, a vaccine, like you said, to where it has this RFID chip, which you have, by the way. And people say, it's the mark of the beast. If I had this chip in me, and it's scary. So, I mean, usually I kind of end things on a good note with my guests on a high note, but I think we should kind of get deep with this because I feel like it's a discussion that needs to be had because we've gotten so far removed from who we are as human beings. We don't even think about the spiritual side of who we are anymore. So I want to ask you, do you think there's a God, or is there a God, and how would you prove it?
Well, so I'm of a couple different minds. The first off, I want to say I sort of agree with Elon Musk that I carry a certain amount of skepticism towards the transhumanist movement. If it's not done democratically, all these different technologies come out in a capitalistic environment where the marketplace allows things yay or nay to thrive, then I would be very, sort of against it, or at least very skeptical of it. This is one of the reasons why I'm so skeptical of China right now. China is probably the leading transhumanist nation in the world. They're leading genetic editing experiments. They're now probably getting on the cusp of leading AI. And they're a totalitarian regime. I don't like the way that they're going to institute AI tracking things and stuff like that. And that's the problem with us. This is also just, I think, another kind of angle of understanding things that America sort of must, and the West must develop transhumanist technology, because if we don't, China's going to do it, and then they're going to have a totalitarian kind of emphasis on all this technology, which becomes more dangerous. At least if America does it, we can rest assured that at least there is this democratically elected kind of process behind it. And I think it's very important that we go down that road, but just to and compete against Chinese, so it doesn't kind of end up just in their hands. But to answer your bigger question, I'm not 100% sure whether I believe in God or not. I was raised a Catholic. I'm mostly agnostic. I've often been on the record as an atheist. I'm mostly actually a theocytist, which is somebody who believes that God once existed and God probably decided to terminate its existence for some philosophical reasons that we might not even understand, something like insisting on free will. But I also believe if there was a God, it had definitely already been through the singularity and is allowing us to evolve to something like that God as we sort of are, achieving further and further evolution. But, whether you're religious, of course, is going to be very determining in whether you believe in transhumanism, because most of the Bible would say, don't modify the human body. It's a temple of God as it is. Whereas most transhumanists who are atheists or secular are going to say, well, we're here to modify whatever we want to do. The human body is a tool, and let us change it into what is most functional to live on planet Earth. And that's really the basis of where I come in. I think that we should do whatever is most functional for our species, assuming, again, we don't give up all our liberties or we don't destroy the planet in the meantime. But I do think we can have it all. I think we can improve the species, we can eliminate disease, we can eliminate death, and we can also preserve our freedoms while still preserving the people we love around us, as well as getting off Earth and, the bigger picture of exploring the universe, which is also another huge part of the transhumanist agenda and dream.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, as beautiful as you're making it sound, humans historically have proven that they're destructive, they're violent, they're assaultive. We're proving it right now in our own country against our own people more than ever before. So to introduce such an advancement of humankind right now is skeptical, is a scary thought. And if you want to say that, okay, God is like us, if we're made in God's image and evolved to this singularity point where God is, eternally existent with, the matrix, whatever the case may be. If we want to get to that point, how would we get there? We wouldn't get there by, creating robot armies and, having this I guess ability to where we want to augment our bodies, change our bodies in a way to where we want to be destructive or can be destructive or harmful towards each other. That definitely is not going to benefit humankind. That isn't going to benefit artificial intelligence. Even at some point, once they become conscious of themselves, they're going to want to demand independence and freedom and liberty and everything that we want and demand as human beings that we can't get from each other. So there's another war brewing. So it's like Terminator all over, bringing that shit into reality. So it's crazy that, again, people are, I guess, out there advancing such a things, and they aren't civil. They aren't balanced, and they're having the opportunity to take advantage of people in a way that we've never seen before, especially with this coronavirus thing. Like I said, a lot of people are scared out of, their minds about death, and transhumanism could come along as a solution for that. And, spiritual or not, that's a opportunity that most people may jump on, especially when it comes to their health, right?
Well, yeah, I think so. And I mean, I think there's no question that because of coronavirus, transhumanism is being taken more seriously. And I think that, that's a really good thing that's happening. At the same time, we don't have all the answers to it. Transhumanists are putting now, billions of dollars into coming up with vaccines. And then there's this question of who will take the vaccine. Is it government funded? Is there control issues? So it's not a perfect road, but of course, history has never been a perfect road upwards. And I think, ultimately speaking, we're going to come up with something that eliminates this time that we're in. We're going to come up with a vaccine that takes out coronavirus. We're hopefully going to get better racial, justice laws in place so that we don't have rioting all over and we don't have, Black people being killed on the streets by police officers. So hopefully the world will improve through science and technology. I certainly wanted to, but I also realize that it's just not a straight line. And I have a sense that yourself and a lot of your listeners want something or an easier way to achieve this. But unfortunately, society and history have this way of being very challenged all the time. Conflict is the way that we kind of emerge as a better species, and hopefully we just keep going the right direction. But again, I mean, I am less trustful of the government after seeing how they befuddled the coronavirus response. I'm also less trustful of just I think of the world in general. This is a scary time for anyone, and I sort of empathize with a lot of the chaos out there at the moment. It's not an easy time, but hopefully we will get through this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think human beings will also always persevere. We've proven that in history time and time again. We've been on this planet thousands of years, if not longer, according to scientific evidence. So as much as people want to despite that, whatever their religious beliefs may be, facts are facts. So I feel like as human beings, we'll always persevere. I just personally believe that it's baby steps to get there. And like you said, the government of America has truly dropped the ball when it comes to this coronavirus thing. They definitely proven themselves to be incapable and irresponsible of handling not only a pandemic, but in helping we the people what we needed the most. So it would be nice if this technology, transhumanist, I guess, capabilities were used to solve poverty and homelessness and these type of issues, but it's sad that again our government that exists today would rather use that in a destructive means, and it does take some fight and some struggle for us to get there. But like I said, I feel like at this point it's going to take a bit more healing and unity, opposed to what people see as godlessness and a lack of love amongst each other. You know what I mean? So I certainly do wish you the best with everything that you're doing, Zoltan, because as long as you keep running, I got to keep running. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
man,
no.
we're on different sides of the coin, but we definitely are out there speaking up for the people. So, the people will definitely choose who they feel, I feel like is someone that they want to advance them. And if the people so choose you, then so be it, my man.
Well, look, I've been most impressed with how you have done everything, and so I'm, when I began the campaign against you, for the governor run, I just didn't think that you were going to be competitive. And halfway through, and you were getting 99% of the libertarian support from the California party, and I was getting so small. I was like, wow. But I'm glad you're out there, and I'm highly unlikely to run as a libertarian for governor again, but I bet you are. But I'm hoping you the best as you do, and you may have my support this time.
All right, hey, we'll see. Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure your name is going to pop up on the ballot one of these days, whether it be as governor, vice president, or president of the United States again. So I'll definitely be seeing you around, and so will all of the people out there. Thank you again for being on the Black Side of Liberty, Zo.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's been great talking to you.
Absolutely. You take care until next time, my man.
Okay, bye-bye.
Peace. All right, you guys, you heard it here. That again was Zoltan Istvan of the Transhumanist Party, or used to be, but he then ran as a Republican for President of the United States of America and Vice President under the Libertarian ticket, most recently this year in 2020. And as he said, could possibly run again as California governor, but I'll be definitely doing that. As you heard him, I got that drive in me, and the more people out there that knows about what I'm doing, the better. So please definitely help support as much as possible. Check me out on governorwildstar.com. Spread the word about me. Help help inform others about what I'm doing. I speak to people and they're like, I didn't know you ran for governor. I didn't know you ran for mayor. I didn't know you ran for city council. They think I'm just joking around and this is a game. This shit is not a game. I'm taking this shit seriously. And all the knowledge that I'm dropping on you is facts. Trust and believe. So like I said, check out any of my videos where I'm contesting parking tickets in court, or getting arrested by the cops or pulled over by the cops for getting gas or walking down the street or riding my bike or any of that stuff. Just share those videos. Help spread awareness about again what I'm attempting to do by taking over this state here in California. And that's what we want to do. We the people want to take over the state of California and free it of tyranny from especially tyrannical people like Governor Gavin Newsom. And it's right here, recallgavin2020.com. Visit the website and please find out about how you can get involved in getting rid of the governor of California and then helping someone like me get into office. So check it out, recallgavin2020.com, and check out wehaverights.com. We are holding an event August 8th in Ventura County, Ventura Beach. Be there, be square. We Have Rights, August 8th rally in Ventura for recalling Gavin Newsom. I will be involved in that rally, as well as, like I said, wehaverights.com. Check it out, find out more about the event, because we need you to be involved and we definitely need your support. So please donate on wehaverights.com to get rid of Gavin Newsom at recallgavin2020.com. And like I said, I would love to replace Gavin Newsom. And I am running for governor of California. I've formed an exploratory committee, and my fundraising goal is $10,000. So head on over to crowdpack.com, crowdpack.com. Crowdpack is a crowdfunding website for political candidates. So all of you candidates out there and you want to have a platform to do your crowdfunding or fundraising for anything, unfortunately, they discriminate against Republicans. But if you want to run as a conservative, do what I did, run as a libertarian or an independent or something like that. Like I said, check it out, crowdpack.com/C/Wildstar, the number 4gov, and please contribute whatever you can. I will take any and all contributions to help me reach that $10,000 fundraising goal so I can compete in the next run for governor of California. We can do it, people. As you heard Zoltan said, I was very impressive in my run. Imagine what I could do if more people in the state of California actually knew who I am and what I'm offering to do for them as a leader and representative for them, and that's for you, we the people. That's what we want to do, is get more people like me in office, right? So let's do it. We got to take the power into our own hands, and we have it. So we got to exercise it. So speaking of exercising, vote libertarian. If you haven't had your state primary yet, please check it out. Find out when that's going to be. It's been delayed for the coronavirus. If you haven't had it yet, it's coming up soon. Find out when that is and make sure that you vote libertarian. Vote for the libertarian candidate, Jo Jorgensen, and any other candidate that you see on the ballot. Reason why you want to vote Jo Jorgensen and all those libertarians is to give them further access, ballot access in the future. A lot of libertarians have to petition for signatures. That's almost next to impossible right now. People don't even want to go outside. Can't stand outside Walmart. Can't stand outside Target. Even if you did, nobody's going to those places, or the DMV or the library or other places where people would normally congregate and go and petition, malls and shit. So you can't do that. It's hard for them. They need to get off their ass, go do it. But you can help them in, again, like I said, making that process much easier. Voting Jo Jorgensen, presidential candidate, for the Libertarian Party. So vote for her. Help the other candidates on the ballot get access, and you can also help her get into the presidential debates come September. That's what we want to do, is make sure that you got Trump dumbass up there and Biden's dumbass up there and somebody smart for once, and that would be Jo Jorgensen. So please make sure that you vote libertarian so she can have a podium on the debate stage for the president of the United States of America. And if you haven't heard, my wife, Crystal Wildstar of crystalhealingarts.com. She is joining the Governor Wildstar YouTube channel. So let me share that with you here. Let me see. Hold on. All right, there she is right there. Shared full screen. crystalhealingarts.com. Visit her website. Find out more about my wife and what she offers as an intuitive healer and therapist. And like I said, she is joining the Governor Wildstar YouTube channel. So starting Wednesdays, tomorrow, Wednesday, from every Wednesday from now on, you can check out her show, The Crystal Room, live right here on the Governor Wildstar YouTube channel. So if you are watching on Facebook, go over to my YouTube channel, subscribe now, or go over to Crystal's Healing Arts on Facebook and subscribe to her page, because like I said, 5:30 on Wednesdays, you can catch her right here. She'll be providing live readings to anyone and everyone that is watching. So if you want a free reading, tarot card reading, or something like that, you got a question about somebody you're dating or your job or some shit like that, you want to answer, talk to my wife, Lady Wildstar, about it. I don't want nothing to do with that. But like I said, I will give her the opportunity to be heard by more people, because I know you out there, I know all of you people want to talk to someone like her. So like I said, come on back on Wednesdays. right here, 5:30 Pacific time for the Crystal Room. And of course, let me see. Hold on. Yeah. And of course, like I said, come back to the Black Side of Liberty Thursday. I'll be talking to the vice presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, Spike Cohen. Please come on back, because that should be a very impacting conversation. I'm going to go in on Spike Cohen on the Black Side of Liberty Thursday. Come on back. I'll see you guys till then. I'm up out of this bitch, all right? Y'all have a wonderful evening, and take care. Long live liberty. Peace.